welcome to this, and this, of course, it'll be my TNA Slammiversary pay-per-view review from tonight. They had their Slammiversary pay-per-view tonight, of course, which is their second most prestigious, quote-unquote, pay-per-view of the year for TNA. So let's see how they did, shall we? Let's see how. They started the night off with the X Division title match, PETEY Williams versus Kaz, and this match was very, very good. Why? Because they gave them time. They gave them about 20 minutes. It was great. They were chain wrestling at the start. They were hitting good spots. It was really good. You got to see PETEY Williams be what everyone knows he can be, not just a one-trick pony with the Canadian Destroyer. Very, very well booked match. Everything was very good. There's only a few little minor quibs that if you watch the match you can kind of see, but very good, great opener, without a question, and a great way to start out the pay-per-view. Gave me many, many high hopes for this pay-per-view as I started watching it. From there, we went to the Knockouts 6-man tag match with ODB, GAIL KIM and ROXXI versus the Beautiful People and Moose. Yes, not Mickey Knuckles, Moose. Way to go, TNA, of taking, you take Mickey Knuckles, you just call her Mickey Knuckles, you don't call her Moose. What the fuck is wrong with that? Anyways, there are times, and this is one of those matches, where you give matches too much time, and they did that here. The match started to draw. It started to get a little too much time. This wasn't the only match they did this with, given the fact that they didn't have a lot of matches on this card. But just started to lag. It was okay, but it definitely wasn't as good as it could have been. I think if they had given it a little less time, I think it could have been a far better match. 2.5-star match, what you expect. Still a good match. Then we had LAX versus Team 3D for the tag team titles. Again, they gave this match a little too much time. Team 3D isn't as young as they once were. The booking was okay. This match was just lacking a lot. These two teams have had far, far better matches than this, without question. This was just kind of there. 2.25 stars. Nothing really great or awesome about it. A few good spots. They did a lot of stuff with Hernandez, making Hernandez look really good. The ending was a very good ending, though. I will say it was very well booked. But again, by the time you got to the ending, you were just kind of like, "Will this please end?" Next, we had Awesome Kong's challenge, and while I like this, the only reason this should be on pay-per-view is if you're actually going to have somebody beat Kong. That's the only reason to put this on pay-per-view, because even though tonight she beat up 2 women instead of just 1, which was kind of neat and kind of different, and then she ended up, after the match, Eric Young came out, introduced the fake Elvis that they brought, which was so stupid and so lame. It was retarded. And then GAIL Kim, or Awesome Kong, ended up just destroying her, which was destroying him, which was good to see. But overall, this segment did not belong here, did not belong on a pay-per-view, belonged on Impact, 1/4 star, and that's being generous. Next, we had what everyone was waiting for, Jay Lethal and SOCAL VAL'S wedding. Wow. I actually thought maybe they would be able to salvage this to where it was okay. Was I wrong? They came out, they introduced all the legends, Kamala. Why Kamala was there, I'm not too sure. George the Animal Steel, which kind of makes sense given the fact that, Jay Lethal's supposed to be Macho Man and SOCAL VAL'S supposed to be Miss Elizabeth. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Jake the Snake Roberts was there. They get out, and then we kept wondering exactly how they were going to turn Sanjay heel. See, I can't even, I'm just thinking about this, and I just go, my God. And it was stupid. It was stupid on the levels that just make you go, huh? This belonged on Impact. This belonged on Impact worse than the Kong stuff belonged on Impact. This was not a star, doesn't even get a star for a segment, because this was a segment. They gave this almost 15 minutes. This was shit, is what this was. This was just downright, what the fuck were they thinking when they put this on a pay-per-view? Who thought this up? What kind of crap was this? This doesn't belong on a pay-per-view. Bye. Sayonara. Give me a freaking break. And lo and behold, I still don't fathom why. It was just stupid. It didn't make much sense, to be completely honest. But it turned Sanjay heel. That was the point of it. Wonderful. Let's move on, please. Next we had AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle. A match a lot of people were looking forward to. Of course, Kurt is injured, so a lot of people were kind of wondering how this would turn out. I thought this turned out very good. They were doing some mat wrestling. They did end up hitting a few spots. Even though they did, you could tell were protecting Kurt, but it still worked. It still was pretty good. The ending of this was very well booked, where they kind of did a swerve on the Hard Justice angle from last year. Karen came down, looked like she was going to help Kurt. Instead, she turned on Kurt, cost Kurt the match, basically. AJ won with the Styles Clash. Was very good. Liked it. Afterwards, Kurt got his revenge on AJ. Yay, we get more of this. Hopefully Kurt will, somehow either, his neck get better, or they'll just put him in the ring with, they'll put AJ in the ring with Tomko. But next we had King of the Mountain match. This was good. Don't get me wrong, this was good, but this was not worthy of the King of the Mountain. This was definitely the worst King of the Mountain match they've had. It just kind of plodded along. It seemed very convoluted. It seemed like whoever booked it really didn't, like they were rushing it, but they, it had 30 minutes, so it wasn't like they were really rushing it. I know a lot of people complained when I did my kind of, fantasy booking of Slammiversary that, the match that the guys that I put in there, you wouldn't get a bunch of spots. Well, this didn't have a bunch of spots, but not only did it not have a bunch of spots, but they didn't even try any spots. It was just, okay, two guys go off and pair up. There wasn't like guys pairing off against each other, like double teaming each other trying to get the pins. There wasn't, anything like that, any kind of teamwork, which you would think would work. There was very little use of the ladder. I mean, as much as I saw the King of the Mountain match, the X Division King of the Mountain match, which took place on Impact, and I was kind of disappointed in that. I thought that would be a little better, and I think they purposely booked it to not be as good as the King of the Mountain match on this pay-per-view was supposed to be. That's how I kind of felt watching it. But that match was better than this, to be honest. This match just kind of fell flat for whatever reason. I don't know. Just wasn't as good as it should have been, I felt. I would give it 3.25 stars, and that's about it. I mean, I just wasn't feeling it for this match, which is unfortunate. I mean, Styles, or not Styles, but Christian Cage took a pretty good bump, but it wasn't a great bump. And you hate to say that when a guy's take table bumps, but it wasn't even a great table bump. Joe, for the most part, was just kind of hanging around to the end of the match. The ending kind of came out of nowhere. It seemed it was like, oop, let's end the match. I mean, that's how it seemed. There wasn't any build up to the end of the match. It was just kind of there. It didn't seem like the spectacle like you would think it would be. I know a lot of people said that this year's Money in the Bank match wasn't as good as others, but I definitely think that it blew this out of the water. That's for sure. That's for sure. It was just very strange. I mean, there was Booker didn't do a lot in this match. He did some stuff, but not a lot. Robert Roode actually did, I think, a bit more than Booker did. It just seemed very just kind of there to me, and just didn't work, which is unfortunate. I'm not a big fan of this match to start with, but this was definitely the worst one I've seen, and just didn't seem to come off very well. Overall, I still think this was a good pay-per-view. I think it would have been far better without if you would have included a match instead of the wedding. I think this would have been a far better pay-per-view. I think that hurt this pay-per-view severely. But I do think that what was there and was good, and you had two really, really good matches. But I would give this a 7.5. Wouldn't recommend it. Still think it's good. If you're a TNA fan, you might like it. But that's it. I'm out. Later.